Hi, Julia. Thank you so much for joining me today.
My pleasure. Good to talk to you.
So we're going to just chat around about the Mothering Oneself Mindfully program a little bit. You went through the program, one of the earlier ones, and I'd love to, if you can remember back, I'd love to ask you the question of what drew you to the program in the first place?
Sure. I had been considering I'm doing the program. I remember the first time it came around, like I was on the fence of whether to sign up or not. And I ultimately didn't and kind of regretted that as soon as the opportunity was gone. It was, that first summer of pandemic, I remember. And I kind of got to a point where I was not like, I just felt like I was not taking care of myself. And it was impacting how I was taking care of or not taking care of my family. And I knew something had to change. I was just at capacity. So I started looking for tools to help myself. And I just had a feeling. I'd researched you. I'd been following you on social media. I loved your content and your messaging. And I just felt like it was a good next step. I also felt very isolated, of course, during pandemic. And it felt like a way of connecting to my community because a lot of your, I think, OG members were kind of, local, obviously, because that's your community as well. So it was my way of connecting to my community when I really couldn't. So that's kind of what brought me there. I was looking for help.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for saying that. And I something that totally like resonated for me is that feeling of when that regret feeling, we've talked about this before around the like, oh, does it bring you joy? Like, do you have that intuitive yes? And sometimes we're like, I think it's a yes, I'm not sure, but we actually get more information when we like say no. And then we're like, fuck, like,
For sure.
it's like that intense body, like response of like, no, I just love that in general for you around, and that point for women around making decisions is that sometimes that's like, it's almost like, I use this analogy of when we try on clothes, right? Or when you're looking at your closet of not, does it bring me joy? Do I want to keep it? But what would it be like if I didn't have it? To actually think about it that way.
Yes.
And sometimes we can get that message a little more clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's such a good point because I feel like, a lot of our messaging today, at least in the area that you are, is like not knowing how to connect with ourselves and like what we want. So it's also paying attention to the inverse of what we don't want. So I think that's a really powerful message.
Yeah. And I think that's so important just in signing up for anything, as a mom, whether it's like going to get, the bigger things of like a program like this, or just making a purchase or whatever, like learning how to make decisions that really are in tune with what we know we need and want. Because there's a lot of factors at play, like the messages we're getting, the shoulds that are coming from within us, right? All those things. So,
Sure.
anyhow, okay, let's move on. Well, we could talk about we could go right into this vein. So I guess the question is, so you signed up and what were some takeaways? Any big takeaways or little takeaways that you're open to sharing?
For sure. Well, one thing that's so funny is that while we've been speaking, I've actually been rolling out my feet because my back hurts. And like, that was totally intentional. So, I mean, your brand of self-care is right up my alley. With the yoga tune-up balls and just knowing how to, I think, both physically care for myself, but also like that mental or emotional commitment of getting to the balls or my foam roller every night. Like, and I was doing that for a while and I've kind of fallen off of it with the holidays and other stuff, but like that, like just making time for myself every day, whether it's in the morning or at night before I go to bed, and ideally both, because God knows I need it. It really opened my mind. Like I work better knowing like the behind the scenes of doing things I love the idea of having rituals and habits and everything. But when you help me understand through mothering oneself mindfully, kind of what that means, like when I'm reaching for my phone to scroll on social media, what am I actually doing? It's like reaching for junk food, like, oh, I'm bored or I'm challenged by whatever I'm doing in the moments before. Maybe I can sit with that a little bit longer. And so just that knowledge of why am I doing these things that aren't serving me, helps me really step away from them and change those habits and those thought patterns of that still aren't serving me, So I found that really incredibly helpful. Just the information you share makes me obviously more mindful in my life, but also just make better choices for myself in those daily moments that happen all the time.
Yeah. Oh, that's so awesome. It's that space in between, right? The stimulus and response, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the definitions of mindfulness. That's where mindfulness lies, right? And so you're saying like even I see the phone, and then the what you've been able to cultivate now is this moment of pause with a curiosity of what am I looking for? Not like a blaming of like, oh, there I go picking up my phone again. It's like, what am I doing? What's going on
Yeah.
here? That's awesome. And I love the fact that you're rolling. I often like, with the feet, you can be pretty stealth. And then, but when you start to put it under the butt, you're like, sometimes I have to give a disclosure to clients of like, I just want to let you know, I have got a yoga tuna ball under my butt cheek right now. So if I'm doing a little bit of hopping side to side, that's why. They're the best. And essentially, and you're a fitness instructor, right? So this is, you're very in tune with your body. So you're saying this has kind of helped even to maybe think of this caring for and checking in a different way, adding, not that you weren't familiar with foam rolling and then self-massage, but this is kind of a different approach.
No, but I think in my industry, in our industry, specifically in fitness, you definitely get in this mode of the shoulds, like I should look a certain way. I should be able to do certain things if I'm going to teach them. And you get into the more kind of mode. And it can be a little bit toxic. And I think taking the time and prioritizing rest and recovery is so huge, especially, I'm the older end of the spectrum of fitness instructors at this point when I just turned 40 this year. And I think it is so important for us to recognize the changes in our body and the changes in what we need, whether it's fitness, like paring back on the cardio, moving more into the weight training, or whatever it is for your body. And then absolutely the recovery and the rest, the getting enough sleep. Like that is like my highest priority of self-care is the sleep. Like I love that portion. And how you focus on that, because I think that is what so many of us are missing is taking the time. Cause that's our me time, right? Like when everyone else is asleep, when everyone else is gone, we don't have to worry about anyone else. But like we pay so dearly for that. Right?
I know. And especially when, as you said, like, even if it's the discernment around the awake time too, right? So yes, we deserve the awake time, but also we want to be utilizing it well. And so maybe when we actually are more discerning around the awake time, then the sleep time tends to come a little bit more quickly, right? Versus like, if we're not checking in with our body, we are maybe scrolling for all hours, and that is cutting back into our sleep in more ways than one. Time-wise, we're on the phone for another extra 20 minutes, half hour, and brain-wise, right? We're getting that light and that stimulation. So yeah, that's huge. So if, someone was kind of contemplating this program and maybe they're a little on the fence, what would you say to them?
Well, I have several people in my life that that follow you on social media and that I've had this conversation with. And I do every time a new session comes up, and timing, I know people are overwhelmed with, a time commitment of any sort, and I think that's part of what I had trouble with too. But your initial program, I think it's 10 weeks now.
It's 9 weeks. Yeah. It's like 9.5, but not yet 9 weeks. Yeah. It's gotten bigger. I think when you were in it was 6 or 8.
6. Yep.
6.
And so I'm a little jealous. I'm a little jealous that people get extra time with you, but I think that my big message is it's not a huge time commitment. It sounds like it, but like, I think you immediately set the scene with, this is yours to make what you want of it. And you can, there's no homework, but there are a lot of materials that, we can go with through with you during the sessions or, on our own and dig deeper. Like there's always that opportunity to dig deeper, and that's what you make of it. Right. And, so I thought that was really valuable. So if there was a topic I wanted to dig deeper, but there were definitely a couple of weeks where I just took what you gave us, like, and worked with the in-person sessions with the group. Like the interactions with the other members of the group were so incredible and uplifting. And I think a huge part of, I think any group you join, but especially a group like you've cultivated, is that we are all so relatable. And whatever's stopping you from doing this, someone else in the group is feeling it, if not many people in the group are feeling it. And so to have that kind of feedback that you're not alone with whatever you're dealing with is so enormously helpful in kind of growing and getting through whatever you're getting through.
That's such a great point, Julia, around like, if you're struggling even with the time commitment or showing up, or guilt that you have for not showing up, right? Someone in the group is, and I think we talk about that a lot, of that, how we approach this program or anything we sign up for is an opportunity to practice self-awareness and to get to know our patterns and habits, and then to really also practice that compassion piece of, like, what am I going to prioritize? And for a lot of the women I work with, right, there's high expectations. There's like, if I'm signing up, I have to do it perfectly or 100%. And it's in motherhood, we know that needs to be dialed back. And so this continues to foster that for women, right? Of just saying, okay, well, I want to do my best. And sometimes my best is this. And, I always say prioritize showing up for the lives for sure. Because the rest of the stuff, like I have women that have taken the initial program, so 2020, and I get emails sometimes that are like, I just watched this module, or I just rewatched this video, and I just want to let you know that like now I get it, or now it landed for me, or whatever it is. It's
Totally.
Like, it's a long game.
Well, and I think, I've been kind of in your area just as a student. This is something I'm interested in. I cultivate my social media to show me content, in the neighborhood of yours. And whether you are like that, or whether you're just coming into this, like this is new to you, which I can understand also could be a little intimidating for someone just kind of delving into it. I completely lost my train of thought.
Okay. That was me all the time.
We edited that out. No,
because you're so human, right? It's like someone watching this video is probably spaced out at least 3 times. Like, what am I watching again?
I know. It was good. It was really good. It was deep.
So that's awesome. Well, when you think of it and you email me, I'll just like put it on the side. What she really wanted to say was this amazing.
Oh, no, you know what? I'm there. I'm back. But once you're tuned into it, you start seeking out this information, right? Like, because it's so compelling, and you do like certain things that were happening at that time when I first took this. Like I was still kind of, getting my feet under me within, just the self-care piece of things and everything. And then you do, like, it hits you like a couple months later, like, oh, Sarah was talking about something like that. Like, I need to go back. Like, it's all still there. And that's such a gift that like library of information is still available to us later on, because it does become important to you at different points, and just having that like little seed planted. You talk a lot about, the planting and nourishing and, that growth cycle. And so to have that seed planted at some point and be able to go back to that is so incredibly valuable.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I when I teach something or watch something, even saying the definition of mindfulness, I still get something out of. I've been saying it and teaching it for so long, and it's just the beauty of the teachings and the work, right? Is that it's timeless, and it's always evolving. Well, thank you so much. I just so appreciate you and love having you as part of the community. And you're just such a wonderful resource for all the women. And I just want to say thank you. So
thank you. Thank you for doing what you do. We love you.
Oh, well, we'll talk to you soon.